Hello guys, my name is Michael. It is time to move on to a new widget, which it is also important, like all of other widgets, they exist, of course. So that being said, before we proceed, I want to take a short brief with our new default program. So you are already used when we start a new widget that we had load CSS function and a create window function, which creates our window. And starting now, we are going to use another function, which you will see it most of time. And starting with now, so basically this function, what does, I think you already noticed, the name says everything, creates a grid. This function takes 5 arguments. Those are, the first one is the border, the second and the third one are the row and column homogeneous. They are set to false in this example, both. And the last two, they are the row spacings, row and column spacings. So basically the distance between rows and columns. Sorry. So the row spacing and column spacing was set to 3. I will show you a little bit information about this function, which is we are creating a grid. After that, we are setting homogeneous and column homogeneous and row homogeneous to false, like already saw there. And the next two calls, we are setting the row spacing, column spacing, which they are set also with 3 and 3. And the last one here, it is the border, which we applied to it, which was I think also 3. And then after we are done, we are setting with GTK tooltip text, call it grid. So when we hover our mouse over the grid, it will show us this grid tooltip, and then we are returning the newly created grid. So basically, when I run the program now, you will see how it looks like. As you can see, it's just a window with 400, 300, and with magenta background, and of course we have a grid which has also background which is red. So basically the CSS style is this one. Now let's see what we are going to learn today. And today we are going to learn about GTK check button. As you can see here, it is information about it. We are coming back in a moment, in a second. Just a short brief. Today we are going to talk about functions, which are 3. This button has 3 functions. Of course, we are going to talk about CSS nodes, which is the check button is the main one, and then we have check and child. And then after, we are going to talk about 2 signals. Toggle it and click it signal. This one it will be very important when we talk about it in the new signal function, which we are going to talk. It's time to move on now to a new signal function, because as you already know, we were using 2 functions until now. The first one was GSignalConnect, and the second one was GSignalConnectSwap. Those 2 functions, we already talked about them and we used them already, so this means we are not going to talk about them, but we are going to talk about GSignalHandler disconnect, and you'll see its benefits. Okay, so that being said, let's move on. GtkCheckButton says GtkCheckButton creates a widget, create widgets with a discrete toggle button. Has 3 functions, as you already saw here. and then we have some style and properties, or style properties, types and values. It is a structure, so this structure basically it looks like struct GtkCheckButton. And then here's the object hierarchy, which is very important. I think it is a good time to talk about this object hierarchy. So let me copy this part here. I want to throw it here. So let's see, here's the object hierarchy. So basically here are the classes and subclasses of all GTK widgets. So this means let's go a little bit to our check button. As you can see, our check button derives from toggle button, which derives for GTK button, which derives from GTK bin, and then from GTK container, GTK widget, and so on, and until up to the G object. So this means basically that this button can use properties and signals and styles and a lot of things from all these classes, which are subclasses themselves, and which the check button, it is a subclass also of them. So that being said, check button, it is a subclass of GTK toggle button. This means this check button use its signals and properties and so on. How and it is work, we'll see about that. Okay, so that being said, this is about the object hierarchy. How you spell it, I don't know. Anyway, you already probably noticed we made more than 40 videos, and you saw that I have a problem with spelling things. Like I already told you in another tutorial, I'm talking almost every day 3 until 4 languages, so basically it is for me somehow complicated to spell everything right in every language which I speak. Anyway, this is not important now. So here, as you can see, implemented interface says GtkCheckButton implements the AT key implement or iFace, or how you read it, whatever. GTK builder, GTK action, and GTK activable. This we are not going to talk now about this. Includes, so we already know that, and description. A GTK button, check button places a discrete GTK toggle button, which we talk already. We know what a GTK toggle button is, next to a widget, usually a GTK label. See the section on GTK toggle widget for more information, whatever. The important signal is toggled, of course, because once that GTK check button derives from GTK toggle button, that means that we can use its signal. So when we go here now and we click on signals, you see we have the toggle signals. So this means we have those signals which we can use, and the check button has also properties, and which are the indicator size, indicator spacing. As you can see here, they are draw indicator and constant. They are quite different, whatever. Okay, and then we have some CSS nodes, which are check button, check child, and so we are going to talk about them in the next tutorials. And then once that we took the information which we need, I think it is time now to basically build our program in the matter how we need it. So this means creating a program with GTK check button. It will look like this. We are going to check here, says GTK check button returns a widget and takes void as parameter and says creates a new widget. Okay, let's see what we can do with this widget. Okay, GTK widget check check button. Now that we have it, we can point into our function. And then of course we were going to add this button by using grid GTK grid attach, because it is the first one we are going to, I need to cast it before. the second one is the child, you already know. Because it's the first one, we'll say left 0, top 0, 1 and 1. So now I will run the program and see what happens. And of course it happens that I forgot the semicolon. And of course here we have another problem, like GTK grid child. What says child is on the grid? Of course, because there is no child. It is a check button. You see, when you type it fast once, well, that to do some things, then you okay. It is a little bit crazy here. It is hard to see it, but you see our button is here. So basically, this is a check button. It is a place where you can use your mouse pointer to check it or to activate it by checking its box. You see, so this is basically a checkbox, moreover than a check button, but it is check button. Okay, so that being said, this is about GtkCheckButton. It is just a function which creates a check button which you can check it, nothing more. The next function is GtkCheckButton new with label. I think you already know what that means, but we'll see what the manual reference says. It returns a widget and takes one parameter and says create a new check button with a GTK label to the right of it. So parameter will be label, the text for the check button. Okay, so this means we are going to create a new, this time a new button, new with label will be, and we are going to call it check the button, whatever. Okay, now I run the program. As you can see, now looks much more better. This means we don't have just check button here, which you don't see it quite good. You see that we have a check button here and also an information which says check the button. So basically this means what this function does, which is GTK button check button new with label. Okay, so the last function, you know already what this does too. GTK check button new with mnemonic. So basically, okay, this function returns a widget, takes also a parameter, and says creates a new GTK check button containing a label. The label will be created with GTK label new with mnemonic. We know about this function, we already work with this function. So underscores a label indicate the mnemonic for the check button. Parameters are the label, the text of the button with an underscore in front of the mnemonic character, and returns a new GTK check button new. Okay, so that being said, let's call this function. Okay, I will check this out because we don't need it anymore, and with mnemonic set, yes. So you know that creating a mnemonic, we need to put this underscore in front of one character which we want to be the mnemonic character, so it doesn't really have to be C. You already know. I mean, now when I run the program and I hit Alt, left Alt, as you can see the mnemonic is here. If I hit now the C, K, you'll see it's working fine. So you know that from our other mnemonic tutorials, it's not important where you put the underscore. It is important that after you press Alt, you check where is it. As you can see, it is under B for button. So now when I hit B, it does the same thing. So basically, this is the story which we already talked in other tutorials about mnemonics. Okay, so now we learn today in this tutorial that there's another widget which we can use, and this widget is a check button, and this check button basically does for you, or let me say another way, this check button helps you to in some other forms to activate or deactivate something. So this means if you don't check that button, nothing happens, or something similar. I have here the program which I can show you. You see here we have a check button with a label which says check the button to quit. So this means, you see, the quit button is dead, it's not working. So by making this button to work, we need to check this button. Once that we check it, you see, now it's sensitive, it becomes true, and now when I hit the quit button, says goodbye and the program exits. So basically this is one important thing which you can do with buttons. Okay, now stay tuned with the next tutorials, where we are going to learn new things like how we apply CSS. We talk about signals, and of course this very new important signal function, which is GTK sorry for glib, it's a glib function, G signal handler disconnect, which is very important for you to know about this function, and to know how you can work with this function too. Okay, so that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, leave a comment with possible questions, share it with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.